Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode from TCG353. I am Jamie and today we are playing some Emu against two of the hardest matchups that it has. Statistically losing matchups, but we're going to play through them today and talk through how these matchups are going. So if you like this content, leave a like, and if you don't, that's fine. Leave a comment and we'll talk about it. Our first game is up against Lucy, who is notoriously difficult for us. You may have noticed that we started off with the 7-cost stage. This is just something I'm testing regarding this matchup, so I know that some of those in locals and some of the content online, even some of the stuff I've made myself, has started off with 1-cost stage. But today we are going to try out the 7-cost just because it's more of a dice roll. So we hope that they don't have the banish the 7-cost stage in hand, because if they don't, we have actually quite a good time against Lucy. If they do, then we can play around it in certain ways as well. But this is how we're going to play this matchup. So far so good. Into what's happening here. We use a Shallery at the start, searched and trashed and drew. Our opponent just swung 7 into us, we took of course. And on our second turn, we swung 6, they took. Or rather they countered. And we played out a Mars. So all good so far. Our opponent has the opportunity to play out use the memento, but they didn't actually banish our stage. They used it to play the Cavendish, which maybe they didn't intend, maybe they forgot to use the effect of it. But look, they have a Cavendish on board now and they drew a bunch of cards, so it's not entirely a bad move for them. Turn 3 now for us. We have 6 down on the board, and with that we're going to use 1 down to attach to our leader and play out and swing 6, which they counter using the stage. We swing 6 with our Walkery as well, and we play out the Mars. And what the Mars does is it trashes a card in our hand and we can get rid of that Cavendish. So at the moment our board is looking really nice. We're guessing that they're going to use the 7-cost stage next, but it doesn't turn out that way. Our opponent actually chooses to use the memento again and play out the Cavendish again. So no chance for us to be able to use a Mars. We don't have it in hand, so we can't actually remove that on curve. However, we are still in a good spot because our opponent didn't choose to use the bounce stage back to hand effect of that card. They swing 7 into our Walkery, which we take because we draw off that anyway, so it's quite a good trade for us. We play out the Saturn Raw, so we just play it as a 4-cost because we would like to play additional cards if we can this turn. We swing a Raw 5 at their leader, and we'll see what they do, whether they take or don't. They do have a lot of cards, but maybe they want to draw more and they choose to take that. Now we have a choice to play Jupiter, or we can play the Nostro, the Rush. I think playing out the Nostro is good because what we can do next turn then is to play out the Jupiter and also have the option of playing out the Elders if we'd like to as well. So there's a few different options that we can have regarding your next turn. You could argue as well we could have used the Jupiter and then just use the Rush for next turn, but we wanted to keep the option open if we did choose to use the 10-cost Elders. So that was the logic there. We were just keeping our options open. Our opponent now plays out a 7-cost Sabo and uses Fire Fist on our Mars. Swing 6 into our life, and we will give them either 2k or we will take the block. I think taking the block could have been useful here, but we can just block out the 8k swing that they have coming to us next turn. We take a Nostro just there. There is actually a line where we could play out a Nostro and a Jupiter, so we'd have more 7k swings in board if we wanted, and we could reduce the Sabo down quite a lot. Probably get a lot removed off the board as well. So now we counter out here with our event, trash a card in hand, And now we play out the Jupiter. So this is actually the line we're going to go for. We swing 7 into their Cavendish and we minus 2k down on their Sabo, so they can't get a free block off, is pretty much the principle here. We'll see what they do. They turn their stage sideways. We play out the Nostromo Raw and swing into the opponent's life. Swing 5 into 4 now. Maybe they want to get a block off. It would be a free block here. It would. And that's what they do. And we swing 7 into the Cavendish here. So we actually have nice board control now. Our Saturn is still standing up. They only really have 2 swings that they could possibly use, and we have a block to be able to protect it. Our hand isn't exactly high in counter with just 3k counter in hand, but we do have 2 life and a blocker up, so we're not afraid of being of getting taken out this turn. We just would like to protect some of our bodies. So let's see what our opponent does with this Sabo now, what event they will use. The double attack event could be scary, but also a Fire Fist could be frustrating, so it's hard to know perfectly which one we would prefer and which one we don't prefer to see. I guess since they're throwing a double attack, it would be nice to keep the Mars up as a 7k swing, but it would just be smarter, I believe, to block out. Now that being said, since they turned the Sabo blocker sideways, it actually makes a lot more sense for us to take this double attack now because they have less blockers. We're also in quite a good position now in terms of our hand, since we do have two elders. We have 2 Nostros as well, so we can minus down our opponent a lot. The first Sabo we do minus is the blocker, of course, so that they can't get a free block off. We have 5 7k swings at them this turn if we don't add any down, and we can also play out the elders this turn as well, so we are actually in a very good spot. We have a 7k here and obviously the Nostro effect which you could use, so we choose to minus down their Sabo, so now both their Sabos are at 7k, and now we will go more aggressive into their life. It'll take us 4 down to get the elders out, 1 down up possibly for the event, so we're kind of hoping to keep 5 down in hand, or 5 down up mostly. So we swing 8 into their life to give us a bunch of counter here, and they end up taking the life, so they just kind of messed up their order of dawn. And we'll see what they do here. We swing 7. There was a bit of a kindness, I guess, because we don't actually want them to use all, or was it a kindness? No, it wasn't. Our opponent just made a mistake, and we're not exactly capitalizing on it, but we're not playing around them not having options either. So we search out another 2k. We could trash a card and just get rid of the Leo, but there's no real point, so we won't do that. We'll swing 8 at their leader, and they kind of have to give us a block here, which they do, and then we choose to swing 8 into their leader again, risking it, and we are successful in that game. Are there things to learn from that game? No, I think we were wise at the end to go all in. That could have been a detriment. Oh, I haven't done one of these commentaries in a while, and I forgot that it kind of takes a little bit out of the throat. No, but I think we played that well. Our opponent probably could have banished their stage earlier, and that would have ruined our momentum, but they didn't, unfortunately for them. Fortunately for us, let's now talk about this next game up against Purple Enel. Purple Enel wins statistically. It's just a really good deck. We chose to go first here, just to take first away from them. Obviously, Emu prefers to go second, but Enel is just so good going first that we do prefer to take that off him. We kept this hand because we have the 3 cost in hand, and I know some people think it's bait, and it's not consistently great, I will grant you that, but it is a useful card to have in this deck for Holy and for Ohm. If Holy and Ohm come up and you don't have something to counter it, you lose automatically. It's kind of frustrating, so it is useful to have this card in hand. We could have just used it there just to get rid of that one Shiryu, because that Shiryu then would have not been able to swing next turn, but we didn't. And now what we're going to do here is, thankfully, they just gave us perfect value for our tree cost. So they have 3 bodies on board, and in one turn we will be able to get every one of those bodies off the board, which is that's so strong. And us trashing cards in hand isn't that much of a problem, to be honest, because it just sets up our trash for the 5 costs. Could have attached 1 down here, in all fairness, but we didn't. Swing 5 into the Shiryu, and they give us that. Play out the Shalria. What will we take with it? Do we want the 2k or do we want the blocker? We choose the 2k. The blocker, in hindsight, could have been useful because more and more Enels are playing the Pedro, the Don Quixote character who takes an event back from trash, and they're also playing Frankie. And sometimes you might get lucky enough to be able to remove a Reiju if they don't have enough events in trash. So I remember this game now, our opponent takes a good bit of time to make decisions. So I've sped up their turns quite a lot. Still, this is one of the longer games, but it's just a good example of capitalizing on opponent's mistakes, because our opponent doesn't play perfectly, as you might see soon. So we played out Jupiter with our ability, and we played out the Saturn. We actually don't have very much counter in hand until we take this 2k. Now we're in a much better spot for this counter. The reason we did play out 2 bodies there is because, in my opinion, it's best to go extremely aggressive against Enel with Emu, and that means to build up your board very early, especially when you have a Jupiter on the board. So we have a Nostro next that can rush, and then we can leave our events up to be able to protect our characters. Our opponent's going to swing 14 into the Jupiter, which is unfortunate, and there actually isn't much we can do other than play out our Jupiter again, which we will, of course, and we are kind of considering whether we want to play out Warkery and keep Don up for events, or whether we want to just raw play out the Nostro. The Nostro could be useful, like it really could. So we're going to consider it, and yes, that is not what we're going to do. So we don't play at the Nostro. Yes, it would be aggressive, but we'd also be sort of risking a little bit. Playing out the Warkery also allows us to restore hand size, which is quite useful, and we still have a Nostro in hand, so we can get that rush off next turn, and we can play the Nostro out for 3 Don rather than 6, so we'd have more Don to be able to spread out. Opponent swings a Satori after playing out the Reiju. They still don't have the events in trash enough for the Reiju effect, but we don't have a Mars in hand, so we can't actually KO it. And now look, they're after getting their Reiju up in cost, so that was never going to happen. Our opponent now chooses to swing 9-10 at us with the Holy, and we have enough counter for that because we're Emu and we have so much counter in our hand at all times. Our opponent minuses 1k down to our Saturn and swings 5 into the Saturn. That was a blunder on their part. They could have swung with the Ohm and got it down to 3k and then just KO'd it. They didn't, fortunate enough. And they messed up the order of their turn, so they swing 2 into 2, which I am going to counter. So if they swung earlier, would have been fine. They actually are able to freeze both of our characters here now, which is extremely unfortunate. If we play out the Mars here, what happens is we minus the only card we have in our hand. So I think what is good to do here is get rid of the Holy still, because the Holy is scary, of course, and choose where we want to swing. We swing 9 into their body. The reason for that is because we want to swing, very good, 2k in hand. The reason for that is we want to keep Don up, so we're able to swing 10 into the next body. However, our opponent just refuses to use their blocker for whatever reason. I don't fully understand that actually. especially there at the end, and the Satori is valuable, but I think they might have believed they were in just a dominant position. They didn't have to. I'm not sure. Definitely another blunder from our opponent's part, but look, like in this matchup where you statistically are losing, you have to take these mistakes from your opponent as the best thing possible. We have 2 life left, we have 2k in hand, but that 2k is actually quite valuable to us, so we will probably keep it in hand for that exact reason, because it is so good to use. Get a trigger effect off life, and we get the Celestials. We have 2 2ks and the Celestial Dragons in hand. Do we have potential for to win here? No, we actually don't. If we play out the Jupiter, we could be in a very bad spot afterwards, so I think it's best to swing aggressively with the cards we have in hand. That would mean swinging 6, that would mean swinging 6 again. Here we go, swing 6. And you may have noticed our opponent didn't actually turn his Enel into a blocker this turn. So that is actually great use for us. We have 2 2ks in hand, and we're able to get the counter event, so our hand is actually stacked. When it comes to counter, we are going to trash 1 2k to get rid of the Porsche, because that aggression next turn is going to be very hard to deal with. Swing 7 into the 5, which they kind of have to give to us. Enel runs very few natural 2ks. The 2ks in the deck are mostly just 4 Enel characters. So if they do have 2 and a 1 for this, we're just going to load up on our leader as well and swing into it. So here we go. Yep, they trash a brick from hand, and we will now say that we're just going to take that 10k here. So would have been smarter to leave 1 down up, but I think in the heat of battle, in the middle of it all, in the midst of this war, then I did not notice that they didn't activate that Enel as blocker. My mistake, my bad. What can you do? They use a Mamaragan to rest one of my blockers. They rested the wrong one. They should have rested the card that allows me to draw, but look, we take those. They're going to choose to swing 6 into our life. We'll take the block. Draw into a brick, which is a brick for us, but we have a 2k to be able to block that 6k, and they can swing 10 into us if they'd like. Probably be smart for them to swing 10 into a body, and you can see now that their timer is ticking down. They're kind of curious whether they're going to swing 10 into the Mars or not. You can have that, no problem. We consider searching. I think we were looking for a Nachoro there. But we didn't get it, unfortunate enough, so we're just going to split out our dons a little bit. All we need is 5 dons up. 5 dons up if we wanted to try and sustain ourselves the next turn, but let's not. Let's just go for game. 12k into their life, they had 2k, 1k, that's all, AK. And it was a good game to our opponent. It took a while for that game to finish, which is half the reason I had to leave it in. Our opponent made some blunders. I think we could have played slightly better in some aspects of the game as well. But yeah, good game to our opponent. Let's talk about this Lucy game. You can see here I'm using the 7 cost stage again. I just kind of got used to it, you know. I was grinding these games pretty much all morning, and I didn't use the 1 cost. I think the 1 cost, does it require more skill? Possibly. It's just you need more niche knowledge of this matchup exactly, whereas playing Emu, you're so used to using the 7 cost stage that maybe naturally you make better turns. Also having a Marijoa in the deck and having a deck that you search through so much, it's probably fine to be able to have that 1 cost stage, and then if your 7 cost gets bounced back, play with the 1 cost stage if it does come up. As you can see here, it has, but I do believe that we trash it in this game here. Our opponent used the 4 cost event that can bounce a stage back to hand, but they didn't actually use it on us, which is very kind of them. Thank you so much, Schoolboy C. Now we'll see what we do. We trashed a Mars earlier, which is such a sadness because we would have been able to get this Cavendish off the board immediately would have been really nice. Swing 5 into their leader they take, which is kind of crazy to see actually. So we attach 2 Don onto our Saturn. That was always part of the plan anyway, so it's fine. We could have gone 6 and 6, and maybe they would have given us a 2k, but here they just give us 2 and a 1, which is a good victory for us. We play out the Rush Nosturo, and no, it didn't have Rush and it didn't have protection either. As you can see here, it got bounced. But the plan was always to leave it standing because we did want to use its -2k power eventually. So that was all part of the plan, preconceived. We'll use the forecast event to protect our Saturn because we want to put pressure on. They only have 2 life and they still don't have a blocker up, so we definitely do want the pressure to stay up. We raw play out a Saturn here and see what we want to pick. The initial idea on this turn was to use Jupiter, but we just pulled into a Mars with our Saturn searcher, so we're just going to use that Saturn here now and get rid of the Cavendish. Swing 5 at the leader with our leader, and after they choose what to do here, we considered for a second whether we're going to swing with the Saturn, and we do choose to do so. We've used our leader ability already. We got rid of one of the bricks in respect to the Celestial Dragons that we had in hand. So now we are looking at a pretty good position. We have 1 blocker, 3 bodies, and we have the ability to turn them into 7k next turn with this Jupiter. And in my belief, the best way to beat Sabo, to beat Lucy in these matchups, is to use Jupiter and build a board early. It's not the 10 cost, not in my experience anyway. I don't think so, because you can see here we have 3 swings that are 7k rather than having 1 swing that's 7k and blockers up, you know. So here we go. We're going to swing 8 into their 5, see what they do. They give us 2 2Ks, which is nice. Swing 8 into their 5, see what they do, and they quit. Could they have survived? 1, 2, 3. No, they would have to take that. We would have swung some more. They couldn't have got us on the crackback, so I think it would have been fine. Good game to our opponent. But you see what I mean? Like, we built a strong board with our Saturns and then used Jupiter on Tendon rather than using the Celestial Dragons, which in my opinion actually helps the matchup quite a lot because you can go aggressive. Obviously our opponent didn't get a Sabo and they didn't bounce their stage back, so we had a fortunate time in regards to that. So look, we ran another game of Lucy just because of that matchup. It was interesting to see, or I was interested to see what it would be like playing against a Lucy that could find their Sabos, you know. So here, let's go into the next game. Our opponent takes a good while on the first turn, just probably staring at the ceiling, which is fine, but you know, we're locked in every time, making the fast moves, which is rare enough, and nearly went too fast there and ended the turn without trashing a card from hand. You see here that I trashed a 2k, and the reason I did that was because we have that 1 cost Garp event in hand, which can bring back a 2k, so it's no problem at all trashing those sorts of cards. They're going to come back. Just one caveat with that Garp event, I've learned myself through a little bit of error that it is when your trash has 10 cards, as you can see here, when your trash has 10 or more cards, then you can bring back a cost 1 or 3 from your hand. So we don't have our trash set up like that yet, so we couldn't actually use it. That was no problem. Our opponent plays out a Leo, which is frustrating because those Rebeccas are going to be annoying and sticky for the rest of the game. The Mars doesn't really do much for us in this matchup anymore either. We were thinking of taking the Mars just to put it into hand so we could trash it to set it up in our trash for when we have the 10 costs out, but we didn't bother. And now after swinging 5, we use the Celestial Dragons event and we pick out a Nosturo, trashing out another 2k because we have 2 of those Garp events, and I can't actually see what was in our trash there, but from all the searching and trashing we're doing, I'm pretty sure it's high. I think we're in a good position with regards to our trash. 8. Yeah, so we're 2 off being able to use that, which is pretty nice. Just give them a 2k here, and now it's active. We have 9 in trash, but when we use the Garb event, that'll be the 10th card, and then we can pull back. So very nice. Can still use a Mars, but what we're thinking here is there's no real point, because we'd be using the Mars just to trash it in hand, but this event trashes everything that we don't search out, so it'll add it to the trash anyway. So we take the dragon, the 10 cost Celestial Dragon. We swing 5. See what our opponent wants to do here. We have 9 Dawn active, and our opponent gets a trigger, which is probably fortunate for us, to be honest, that they get that trigger out. The reason for that is because turning our Saturn sideways probably wouldn't have served us all that good, because as you know, we do believe that the best way to beat Lucy is to build up a strong board at the start. Now our opponent has used a double attack, and they trash, how many cards in hand? I believe they trash 2 cards in hand to make their leader 10k, but we have actually very good counter for this. Use 1k event, 2k from trash, 1k event, 2k from trash, and just like that it all works out pretty as. And they have no other swings for us. We've got enough Walkeries for ever, pretty much, so we can consider using those if we'd like. First thing to do is absolutely use a Jupiter, because that then makes our Nosturo, when it swings, a 7k, which is an enticing way to try and get rid of this Lucy. Now, we could have swung with the Nosturo first, and we'll consider doing that in a second, but I think it's really good here to swing 5 to bait out the block early, because if they do just take a free block here, then we're just going to go ham with the Nosturo actually to get that off the board. So we'll swing 7 into their life, see what they do here. Like, really the line that we want to do is 7, 7, and then put a pig down on the board. But you can see what happens is our opponent actually takes the block here, so we kind of forget about the pig. We attach 4 to our Nosturo, so we swing 11 into their 7, and they can only use events on leader, so it'll actually be quite hard for them. They'd have to give us 2 2Ks and a 1K from their hand, which they maybe don't have, and clearly they don't because they let this go. And we have 2 1Ks and a 4K event in hand, and we still have 3 life, which is a lot. The reason I mentioned what events we have is because we'll want to protect our bodies. Our opponent uses the forecast event to finally bounce the stage back to hand, and Raw plays out a Cavendish. And draw a card with their leader ability and swing 5 into our Nosturo, which we're just going to give 1k counter for. Absolutely no reason not to, actually. And now we have actually an option to play at the 1 cost event, and I'm kind of be happier that way. But I'd rather just be a little bit aggressive here, because you can see they don't have any Don standing, and they don't have any Don on their Rebecca's either. So we have the opportunity to be aggressive, while also being pretty confident that they're not going to be able to take us out next turn, because we can actually play the Walker if we'd like to. We could even play out the 10 cost Elders if we attached 2 Don to each of our swings here, so we swung 3 9Ks, and then we could play the Elders. We wouldn't have Don up, but we would actually still be pretty happy off to do that. And you can see our opponent gives up. They do have event counter in hand, but it's kind of bricky. Their hand was really good, actually. Maybe if they put Don under the Rebecca, they would have been better off, because they could have got the blocks and protected their life for another turn to get a Sabo. But really, because we had such a strong board, it was hard for them ever to come back, which is the big lesson I want you to take from these games is building a board throughout the game and actually leaving bodies standing is quite good in these matchups, because you can kind of go for 1 turn KOs and use your Don then to aggressively defend your characters rather than defending life. Let's talk about this last game now, up against Enel, another Purple Enel matchup. I do believe we're going second here. Our opponent got first, so you know they're kind of on for their ideal curve. Play out a Saturn, search out a pig, trash a card to trash a 2k to gain a 2k, and now our opponent goes straight into the big bad Enel. So they are scary. They swing 6 into us. We're going to give them 2k again. We just want to stay healthy. To be honest, we do really want to stay healthy here, because we know how aggressive Enel can get. Swing 5 at their leader, swing 6. They take life aggressively, which is surprising to see, and we swing 6 into their life with our Rush Nosturo, and now we are going to trash a Mars from hand to settle up into trash, but also because we don't believe in the value it's going to give us this game, which, as you can see here, may have come back to haunt us if they hadn't played the +2 ability there. Mars can actually KO Reiju if Reiju hasn't set up the events. So they swing 6 into our leader, block out of that with 2k, and they swing 14 into our leader, which they can absolutely have, that's no problem. We'll play out a Marcus Mars Raw. We're just counting up to see how they're after managing to get the +2 cost onto their Reiju, because we were counting the events in their trash beforehand. How they're after getting that is they use that Vibali event, the one that +2. Anyway, we chose to pick the Saturn from life and swung 5k into their lead now, and we really think about this part here, and we choose to swing our Saturn. So why we thought about that so much is because we actually want that Saturn up quite a lot so we can be aggressive in our swings the next turn. However, what we do also consider is that they have Mamaragan and they'd be able to rest it and possibly KO it, and then we just lose its value, and they might be able to Mamaragan and Lightning Beast it and freeze it, so we just choose not to mess around with any of that. Our opponent swings 6 into 4, which we just let go. Our opponent now considers whether to swing into a body or swing into our life. They do choose body, and we let that go also. We have a lot of Warkeries, that is for sure. So what we're going to do, like one of the lines we have is just go mad aggressive, try and get those blockers off the board, and then leave 2 down up for events. But another line that we have is to go 4 down for 10 cost, 4 down for Warkery, and leave 2 down up for event, which is actually what we're going to do. Our opponent could have been smarter and used the Frankie to free block, but look, they didn't, and that kind of serves us. We picked an event up there to use, which we probably shouldn't have, because we know we're only going to have 2 down standing. Just kind of depends on what our opponent wants to do here, because the way they're countering out is kind of sketchy. Like, it seems like they're baiting us a little bit, so we actually just choose the safe route, and that is to play down the 4 cost. If you've noticed from their life, I think they've used 3 Mamaragan so far, so that means at most they can only have 1 in life, so they'd be able to rest 1 blocker, but not 2. They have played out this Senior Pink, so they can pull a Mamaragan back to life, and they rest another one, and they rest 1, and possibly they have another one, so they can only rest 2 blockers now. So we just need to counter out sufficiently here, which we can counter out of this, and they can use leader ability if they'd like to put onto Ohm, which they do. Swing 7 with Ohm, and we do not take the block. We're just baiting them into swinging with the Reiju. If they do that, then we're pretty good. To be honest, we are actually in a pretty good spot, which they don't. Okay, so they don't swing with Reiju, but still, look at our hand. Like, we have so much counter. We have 4 4Ks. We also have the Celestial Dragons, and we know they don't have any Mamaragan. So, like, we have an option here to go aggressive, go for life, go for game, especially when they just took that block at the start. Swing 7 into him, and I was really tempted here to just go 17, which maybe I could have, but I looked at how many cards they had, and I just don't like trusting these things, to be honest. So I chose to go the safe route here, and I swung 5. 5 with the option then to delete the senior pink with America's Mars. Trash card from hand there. Still get a rush off. You know, like, still pretty in a good spot. Our opponent actually only had 4k counter in hand, so we would have won by a lot if I had just dumped all my Don into them at the earlier stage. But sometimes it's better to just play safe, especially when you're playing against Purple Enel and you're recording a video and you really want to win this match so that you can include it on your YouTube video. So much things to consider. Anyway, look, that's the end of the game. Thanks so much for all my subscribers and regular listeners, watchers, not listeners really, it's not the radio. To all you guys for supporting, commenting, all that sort of stuff. I'm making this video and I'm making a Rebecca video, and there was one more video I believe you left a comment about in that ace that I'm going to go back, read over, find out and make that video as well. So lots of content coming, and I'm happy to be back in the swing of things. I hope you're enjoying it. If you like these videos, please leave a like. If you don't like it, don't tell me, tell somebody else, and maybe they can tell me then. If you want to see more, consider subscribing. I am uploading daily and I will continue to do so as long as this is fun for you guys. So yes, thank you. Without talking too much, goodbye. Thank you for watching. See ya.